Welcome all. So this is the Sun transit, human design, plutonic planes. We're doing the transit for the Sun, gate 57. And the dates for this are going to be, I think it's October 7th to the 13th. It'll say on the cover of this vid. Oh no, sorry. October 8th, because it says right here, October 8th to the 13th, I feel like. So this is starting on the date of, and I'm doing this ahead of time because I'm going out of town for a little while. This is going to be on Wednesday. Is that correct? Next Wednesday. Yes. Well, I'm doing this way ahead of time. So it'll be Wednesday, October 8th to the 13th. And this will be happening right around the full moon. Let me see if it's, the sun will be in Libra, gate 57. So the full moon would be in opposition. And so we have the moon there on the 24. So I'd have to look on my astro app to be sure. But it looks like on this particular day that the sun will be in Libra around 15 degrees, so midway through Libra already. And the moon will just have finished its full moon on the 6th, on the 7th. And so the moon will have moved to Taurus. That's right, gate 24 is going to be Taurus. And so this is just after so it's still full moon energy. The moon will still be full in the sky when 57 starts. And this gate 57 is, and I'll start with Ra's description of this gate. He called this a very, very extraordinary gate in the human design I Ching, or in the I Ching in general, where it is called the gentle or the gentle wind. And in his description of this particular gate, we have the extraordinary power of clarity as the 57th hexagram line in the Rei Ching. And Ross said this was a very complex gate. Now, as you could see here, and I'll point this out to you guys, we have Uranus here in the 20 for some time, a couple years, I think. And so immediately when the sun goes into the 57, it'll be creating a channel with the 20. So I'll talk about that as well. But as you could see during this time, this is Wednesday, October 7th, 8th, October 8th. What it is there's another channel active and what do you know? It's my favorite channel, the 2551. So the 25 is going to be active for a while until end of next spring because of the Aries vortex. And the 51 is the opposite of the 57. So the Earth is going to take that position. So we have two very powerful active channels. And so there's going to be a surge in this early second week of October of intuitive energy as the 57 sun, as the sun there lights up Uranus in 20, sorry, in 20, bringing simultaneous awareness and, of course, technological um, and innovative, oh, and also rebellious energy. And the 2551 is to be able to leap from world to world. In Jyotish, it's the 51 is Revati. It's not Kshatra as Revati, which is about bringing that which is near death to death to pass. And so a lot of great caregivers to others who are passing have this gate 51. So what it is that these channels over here all signify integration. And the integration channels signify the self and the survival of the self. So inherent in all these gates that are coming off the spleen center, as you could see here, these are all gates that symbolize certain meanings, obviously, but they all come with a corresponding fear. And in this case, with the 57, it's fear of the future. And so, what awareness this brings from gate 57 is the awareness to stay alive, intuitive clarity, and the possibility to struggle for clarity or not. Now, those who have the 57 in their chart, a lot of the latter X's do, born in the later 70s, have this in their Pluto, if I'm thinking correctly. Yeah, they do. And this is the power to speak out and to speak out in the moment intuitively. So not necessarily logically, but intuitively. And there's many levels of an expression of this particular gate. There's individuation, self-consciousness, and the existential symbolic of the right ear. The right ear hearing truth, hearing in the now. And we have that connected to simultaneous awareness in the now with gate 20. So a very psychic awareness of the frequencies of the voice of those who are speaking, being able to tell who's telling the truth and who's telling the lie from the right ear. And so this is one of my favorite gates. I don't necessarily like always the sound of it as I hear it from people. I don't have this gate, but I have it in a different way. And so in a sense, it's even more powerful for me. And it's a gate that leads to the door of awareness. Now, Ra noted the lines as having different names. First line, confusion. Second line, cleansing. Third line, acuteness. Fourth line, the director. Fifth line, progression. And sixth line, utilization. Now, you'll notice on this particular day that we have a lot of gates sitting open, waiting to be defined, waiting for the other side to be called. So we got the 28 below, which tests for the worthiness of life, the risk to live life, if it's correct or not. And we're living through a very powerful time of transition, as my buddy Gary just shared in a recent video. And we also got Pluto back in the 60, which is causing us to bring order to chaos. And then we got the 36 over here. The 35 that looks for adventure will be only finding emotional crisis and transmutation. And the 12 that looks otherwise will be finding grace or disgrace. And so we have the spleen active for intuitive clarity during this time, this week. We have the ego center, so willpower is present for those who want to utilize it. The G center brings direction in life. And the defined throat center brings ability to manifest into the world. Now, as we look deeper into the resonance of this particular gate on a lower frequency, we experience it as a form of unease. And this unease is a frequency signature in our field. Now, everything in life has a frequency signature, and all frequencies exist within the bandwidth of sound that humans can hear and cannot hear. So both lower and higher pitches. We know with higher pitches, dogs can hear them. With lower pitches, elephants and whales, and I think bats are going to be lower as well. Insects actually vibrate at whatever pitch they're experiencing. Their whole body is like a tuning fork, like us essentially. Essentially, our auric field, our layers, are tuning forks from and to the environment. Now, our ability to experience an output source into this world, to plug into this larger frequency of this toroidal field of the earth, of whatever this is that seems to have no beginning or no end. It seems that ultimately this frequency is based on fear. And it's based on fear because it has to do with survival. And so we intuit whether what is coming to us is something that we should fear and protect from. So this shadow frequency of unease is a suspect frequency of the awareness is something, can something harm my survival? And so its name in the I Ching, gentle wind, evokes an image of winds coming from the future. And a wind is something very unsettling because it's air moving through us, but it's ultimately unseen. But if anyone's read the early Castaneda books, I read them when I was young. I remember being freaked out when the wind was given quality and essence and identification and even agency. I remember this was very disturbing. It was in a narrative where the character Castaneda, his first person, no, his character in the book was running from the wind or something to that effect. And so we as humans, we've been conditioned for a while now to make decisions from reason. But we all know that's, unless you're a mental projector, that's kind of not correct. We make our decisions from intuition, especially if we have a defined splenic center, like this chart right here with this definition on the spleen center. And so security and protection is what is sought with all the integration gates. I'm talking about the 20, the 57, the 10. All these are gates of integration, survival. Now, the nature of fear itself comes from our ability to conceptualize the progressive direction of time, as well as the backwards direction of time. In other words, fear comes from the ability to process thought, to have a mind that jumps in and out of the past and future. And is what ultimately creates horror and moral terror. We weren't really born with the natural capacity for presence, although we can work to build that possibility. And the argument Rudd likes to make is that every time he speaks about consciousness and its awareness, he never really speaks about it as nouns, as a natural process. I mean, obviously, the 57 connected both to the mammalian body in the dream rave and the integration for survival in the waking chart is about us dealing with our fears. But it's essentially, as he describes it, it's an idea that we're not diseased beings in terms of dis-ease, and this being a gate of ease, or rather, a gate of unease. He talks about it in the language of something passing through us, a developmental stage we're going through. And its programming partner, the 51, causes agitation. And so we have both energies active during this time, the earth being in agitation. The earth, wherever the earth is wherever, however, we're grounding our bodies to the earth. And in the case of the 51, it's shock. In the case of the 51, it's agitation until the shock comes, and then we need to recover from the shock. In the case of the 57, it's unease until clarity is found. We're working to find clarity with the 57. And we hear clarity through the right ear. We hear truth. And 57 is very much about the right ear and wanting and needing to hear truth through it. Now, the unease of this energy can cause impetuous reactions to escape really sitting with things by making quick decisions. Another more repressed expression would be hesitancy. Now, this gate comes off as splenic center, so it's a very quick energy. It's a very spontaneously manifesting frequency of language and manifestation to the throat center. So look at your charts to see if you have the 57 to the 20. Of course, the 57 to the 10 or the 34 would be a little different. 57 to the 34 would be good in emergencies. 10 to the 57 would be the behavior that speaks out in the moment. Now, fear is something that rules human beings. It rules us in every moment because fear is about the possibility of the next moment and what that may or may not bring. And the only way it seems to conquer fear, besides the fear litany in the novel Dune by Frank Herbert, is to experience fear, is to sit and experience the horror and moral terror of things. And just to sit and observe it in the body and be with it. And that is horrific in itself because whether we admit it or not, we all, as human beings, are usually very quick to resolve the unease or agitation or anxiety or panic we feel in the body with some kind of seeming quick fix, especially those of us with an undefined spleen center. You see, this center will be colored in during this week, meaning to say that we'll be feeling good for the most part with that defined. The open spleens are always looking for the feel good and becoming addicted to the feel good because they like to feel good. It avoids having to feel everything in the body. which is what an open spleen experience is. Now, a higher frequency of the 57 has to do with intuition itself, with actually being able to work one's intuition. Now, not all people have a clear operation of intuition. It depends on, the imprinting the child receives from the mother, whether the experience was harmonious or not. If the experience with the mother was not harmonious, then there's a trigger to trusting that one could have clear intuition. But for the most part, if you have the 57, you have an internal guidance system. You have an inner compass. You have this guidance. You have this whisper. And if you don't listen to it, it could go away, apparently. But if you listen to it, you hear it, you know it's coming from somewhere correct in you, then it's your intuition emerging through. And the more you listen to it, the more integrated you become in life. And what Rudd speaks about here is the transition to higher frequency expressions of this particular gate where you start to trust that intuition. And the frequency rises so that you start to really feel into where the fear of this integration channel really comes from, or the fear that humans carry, that resonance, where it really comes from. And you realize it doesn't come from a place inside, but it comes from the collective. Especially those with open centers, we feel this constant influx of energy and tend to identify it with ourselves, but it's just energy passing through. It's a collective processing. And this is not a collective channel. All the integration channels are individual. So they are about individual uniqueness and survival. This is not a collective channel for the collective. This is not a tribal channel for the tribe. And the realization here that Red talked about was that fear is, again, not something inside of you. Now, the layers of this gate are so powerful. We're talking about intuition, but we're talking about the ability to play with space and time, to intuit the past and the future. True clairaudience and clairvoyance and clairsentience beyond the borders of time and space. And the true power here is to be able to sit in this clarity that it can bring with a developed intuition. And this has to do with when you feel anxiety or fear, tension in your body, as it builds every day, stronger and stronger into the night until you cannot avoid it anymore. Because there's nothing more you can do to distract yourself from it. Now it's come time for you to sit with it and face it and actually turn off all the lights. Find a comfy chair, maybe put on a candle, flame to stare at, sit in the dark, in silence or with music that's calming or resonates to 528, something that can entrain you so you can more easy jump to a beta theta level mind wave, brain wave, so you can actually sit calmly. For those that don't have the 52, and the candle flame for those that don't have the focus of the 9. And it is with this practice that whether we realize it or not, and that realization takes present awareness in the moment, simultaneous awareness of the 20, which we will have. So for those who want to start sitting and observing and feeling out the tension in the body that's just under the surface, it's a perfect time to start to do that, especially with this recent new moon in Virgo, solar eclipse. We're still within a couple weeks of it. And this is where higher layers of conscious awareness could be found, where higher consciousness can express itself with the right attitude. And that's the attitude of not avoiding the pain that's encroaching just beneath the surface, wanting and needing to be felt, but just being shut down repeatedly throughout the day, waiting for night to be able to express itself in silence and just silent meditative awareness. And that's what this gate is for. The 57 is powerful intuition to sense the truth of the frequencies that surround us. And all there is frequencies because essentially we're all walking songs and we all have our own mix and intermingling of notes that express themselves every day. And so it is here in this gate 57 that we'll be given this opportunity to really sit and experience what it is to be in gentle awareness, to softly listen to what is moving with us, what are the sensations, where is the energy going? Never do I feel this so clearly when I do healing work on others. I'll sit down, close my eyes, go into trance, and they'll sit in front of me usually. And the first thing that I become aware of is the movement of the biofield, the aura. And sometimes it could be moving at miles per hour, and I just feel this flux of energy, which could be nervousness or whatever it is. But I just sit with it. I don't get up and run. I don't panic. I just sit and observe. I'm already in trance. I'm just looking to move the energy, to clear it up a little. Maybe there's a block. And that's the power of developing the clarity of the 57. And that clarity is to really just see and hear, more so to hear. To see would be the 20, especially in the dream wave. But to hear and to be in that space and develop that deeper seeing, that deeper clairsentience, that deeper audio, acoustic awareness. Because this 57 is essentially acoustics. Everything is acoustics. And how are we hearing it? And what are we hearing? And so here are some ideas to get in tune with when you meditate this week. Maybe sit and feel into gate 57. Now, this is not This is not anything we cannot address. These are all these gates that the human design reveals about our genetic coding through from the I Ching. These are all frequencies that pass through us and that are within us and around us. And we can feel into anyone we choose. We can sit in meditation, say, I want to feel into my gate 57. And even if you don't have gate 57, it's gate 57, it's the space of the 57 to be animated by any passing planetary imprint, or whether it lies in transits or in other people. And so this is your opportunity. And this is what it is. Thanks so much for listening. I really appreciate. Hope you guys enjoy these meditations on the gates. I like to share my insights along with, the originators of human design, Ra, and its practitioners, Richard Rudd and Chetan, and others. And I like to share as I add in my own emphasis for practices, insights, and expressions of these particular energies. So again, thanks so much, and hope you all take care during this week.